Welcome to Syncreate. This is a show where we explore the intersections between creativity, psychology, and spirituality. We believe everyone has the capacity to create, and our goal is to demystify the process and expand the boundaries of what it means to be creative. I'm Melinda Rothouse, and I help individuals and organizations bring their dreams and visions to life. At Syncreate, we're here to support your creativity. So if you have an idea for a project and you're not quite sure how to get it off the ground, reach out to us. We've got resources, coaching, creative process tools to help bring your work to the world. So please get in touch. So today I want to talk a little bit about, just a mini episode here, about kind of creativity and meaning making. This is a theme that comes up for me so much in my work with clients, in my teaching with students. I teach a course on creativity, individuation, and Jungian psychology at Saybrook University. And so what we explore in that course is this idea of individuation, which is the journey to wholeness that takes place across the lifetime. And this idea that, using creativity, among other things, we can make meaning of our experiences in life, particularly those that are challenging, difficult, traumatic. And really, the way that we learn and grow and develop is through making meaning of these difficult experiences. So we don't necessarily learn and grow that much when things are just rolling along and, smooth and wonderful. We actually learn the most from when we experience difficulty, suffering, loss, all these kinds of things, which cause us to kind of go inward and reflect a little bit, like, what happened there? Like, maybe I need to do some healing. Maybe there are some boundaries I need to set in a given situation. Maybe I need to change my life in some way, which can be difficult, maybe a different job, different partner, choosing to leave a relationship or perhaps enter into a new one or move to a different city or a different country, but it's these major life changes, which can be the most stressful and challenging, but also potentially the ones that we can learn and grow from the most. And so what I explore in this class with my students is how we can use our innate creativity, which we all have, to kind of jumpstart this journey to wholeness. How can we use our creativity for healing and to make meaning of our experiences? And so, people find that keeping a journal is one way that can be really helpful to kind of reflect on and record our experiences and sort of process things externally, like get it out of our head and onto the paper, which can actually be very cathartic. Or for some people, it might be visual art, some kind of painting or drawing, or, if you're a musician, some kind of musical composition or song, if you're a dancer, movement. But these different creative media are all ways, kind of different ways of getting into different parts of our brain and different ways that we process our experiences and our emotions, and maybe allow us to somehow, essentially, it's about transformation. It's about moving from one state of being where maybe we're stuck or we're confused or we don't know the way forward. And by reflecting creatively on our experiences, this can help us kind of move through that unknown. I often talk about the sort of journey through the wilderness. That's part of the creative process. We've talked about that in a previous episode, but there's always in life places where we get stuck, right? and we don't really know the way forward, or we go out down into that abyss or that dark night of the soul, and we don't know how to get out of it. And sometimes it's that our conscious mind can't find a solution or doesn't know a way, but maybe there are ways of tapping into the unconscious. So paying attention to our dreams, different symbols and images, or even words of wisdom that appear in dreams, or, just allowing our brains a break from the usual day-to-day linear go, and just engaging in a creative practice can open up different possibilities for us. So I know for myself personally, songwriting is really helpful for this. I often process particularly challenging experiences or important experiences in my life by writing songs about them. And as I've mentioned in other episodes, recently I've been noticing when just like a little snippet of a song or a melody will come to me just as I'm like falling asleep. And if I can record that, on a voice memo on my phone or something, it's something I can come back to later and develop into, a full song. And that's been really fun. But there's many different ways of going about this. And even if you don't consider yourself to be an artist per se, we can all journal, we can all write. Nobody else has to see it. By the way, you could write something out, and just the act of writing, like I said, can be very cathartic and healing. And then you could burn it if you don't want anyone else to see it. I find journaling to be helpful because it helps me create a record of my life. And I don't often go back and read my journals, but sometimes I do. And when I do that, it's so interesting to me to see how I've progressed over time. Or like, oh yeah, like 3 years ago, that's what I was thinking about and dealing with. And wow, I've come a long way since then, but again, it could be through any sort of creative medium, just picking up some watercolors. That's a really low stakes way to get into visual art, or some pastels, or, photography is another one. I practice and teach contemplative photography, and I find it to be a really beautiful way to kind of step outside, slow down, really see what I'm seeing, open up to the senses, and photograph what I see. And it's kind of a mindfulness practice unto itself. And then we can often end up with really beautiful images as well that we might feel inspired to share. So I think it's important to remember that creativity is not only for sharing with the world. It's great to share our creative work with the world, but our creativity can also be part of our own healing and reflection process, and a way to work with whatever is happening in our lives, particularly the challenging things, but maybe also the joyful things, the fun things, the exciting things. And that it can be part of our toolkit for navigating the challenges of life. As well as, again, we might feel inspired to share our work with the world, but not necessarily. And that's okay too. So our creativity pro tip for today is to maybe start keeping a journal or picking up some other kind of creative practice, whatever is resonant for you and accessible for you, and utilize that practice. Approach it on a somewhat regular basis, weekly, daily even, to kind of record and process and reflect on the events of your lives, whether it's in images, words, music, movement, photography, and see where that takes you. Because a lot of people do find that this can be very transformative, particularly in working with the difficult challenges in our lives, and allow us to move kind of from one maybe stuck confused state of being into a place of more clarity, or where we can see a way forward, or whatever it might be. So try it out and see what happens and let us know. We're recording today at Record ATX Studios in Austin, Texas. The podcast is produced in collaboration with Michael Osborne at 14th Street Studios. Thanks so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time. If you're enjoying the show, please connect with us and subscribe and leave us a review.